What's up, guys? Today I wanted to talk about something that I think the internet's been talking about for a while, but I feel I have some unique perspectives on this particular situation and just wanted to share my 2 cents. So, today I wanted to talk a bit about the whole Wicked situation with many of the actors rapidly losing weight, and obviously a lot of comments on their bodies and things like that. And I've seen a lot of conflicting opinions about it. A lot of people are saying, to not comment on people's bodies. Others are saying that it's clearly a health risk. So it's still a very kind of debated situation. I am a qualified psychotherapist, and I specialized working with eating disorders and body dysmorphia. I worked in a care home for chronic and recurring eating disorders, and I treated them full time for about 2-3 years. I learned so much about the development of eating disorders, about how unique it can be for each individual that suffers with them, and how debilitating it is. Statistically speaking, eating disorders have the highest mortality rate. So, it's a very, very challenging disorder, both to treat and to experience, because it's very rigid. So my concerns with eating disorders and body dysmorphia and people in the public eye losing weight rapidly to a degree that looks unhealthy. Whether it is or not is, I think, besides the point in this particular argument or this particular conversation. What I found really concerning about the movie and about this whole situation was what I thought people were failing to look at, what people were really failing to point out, was that this movie was directly targeted towards children. The demographic was a child-friendly movie. You had loads of children at the premieres watching the movie, the day it came out, singing all the songs. And that's the biggest concern to me. Because in my work, I learned that a lot of the eating disorders really started to develop around 11, 12, 13. And they sort of built from there. I thought it was massively irresponsible and negligent for Hollywood and that whole production to not understand that they were actively platforming an unhealthy body type towards young people specifically. If celebrities, just like anyone else, are struggling with mental health issues, they should be getting the support that they need. And whether or not any of these actors were prepared to acknowledge their weight loss or, share anything that had been going on with them, that's not really for the public, I don't think. But I do think that the second you start platforming unhealthy body ideals, you run the risk of inciting, exacerbating, even creating eating disorders and body dysmorphia. So there is something really strange and sinister to me about the fact that this only happened during the Wicked filming. So yeah, that's one of my bigger concerns. I think also part of what celebrities should be able to do is take a step back when they're not well. Obviously, I think everyone should be able to do that. And unfortunately, the world doesn't function that way. But celebrities and A-listers actually can afford to take a step back and get good support, unlike most of us. What I worry about as well is when people are pointing these things out, these actors and celebrities aren't acknowledging anything. They're not addressing people's discussions. They're not using their platform, I think, mindfully. I think, and this is probably quite a controversial take, but I think when you are someone who has a massive platform and you are actively making content and media designed for children, you have an extra layer of responsibility because you have an extra layer of influence. And I think it should have been the actor's responsibility, and I presume their agencies and management to work with them on this, to address it in some way. Whether it be something as simple and vague as just saying to young people, everyone's bodies are different and they're all okay, they're all beautiful, and despite the way my body is changing, don't think that you have to change your body to do the same thing or to look like me, because everyone's different. So it's not asking her to admit if she has mental health issues or not, because that's invasive and it's her prerogative whether she wants to share that or not. But it is also taking accountability for her platform, their platform. I'm pretty much talking about Ariana Grande, but I do think Cynthia Erivo and Michelle they all also did lose a lot of weight and did look unwell in the movies. So yeah, so that's kind of the rant I wanted to go on. I know it's not very funny or anything, but it's something I've been thinking about for months and months and months. It's really been on my mind. And as someone who has treated eating disorders, and I have a pretty good understanding of where it can begin, I couldn't not say anything, because I thought it was a sort of abuse of power, because either they didn't think about the children that they were targeting, or they wanted that, which is even more sinister and concerning. But either way, basically, as a mental health professional, I think Wicked was a mass production of advocating for unhealthy body ideals, particularly targeting children. And I think we should be concerned about that. And I think we should do more to prevent that kind of media, because we are way past this now. We know how bad it can get. We know how influential celebrities are on people's mental health, especially fans. So, yeah, probably a controversial opinion. I won't be surprised if I get a lot of backlash on this, but I do think that my expertise has a lot to say. Like, my experience does speak for itself. And I don't understand the needless destructiveness of pushing unhealthy body norms. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. I'd be curious to know what you think about some of these arguments I've put forward. Take care, stay well, see you guys in the next one. Peace. Peace.